It is a great blessing to present Fredrick R. Honig, who has mastered the ability to tap into inner peace and access the bliss of his own true nature through the glorious and time-tested practice of meditation. Fredrick has studied and practiced meditation with the world-renowned spiritual teacher Sri Swami Satchidananda for the past 20 years. He has taught meditation at universities, resorts, and international conferences. Fredrick is the co-founder and director of Wellbeing International, a nonprofit organization dedicated to individual and global peace, health, and harmony. Fredrick's expertise in conveying these teachings, coupled with his warm, humorous approach, have brought him international acclaim. We are very blessed to have the opportunity to benefit from his years of practice, insight, and inner peace. Wellbeing International is grateful to present Merging into Bliss through Universal Meditation with Fredrick R. Honig.
Aloha and welcome to Merging into Bliss. Bliss is our own inner reality. Bliss is who we are, who we always have been, and who we always will be. And the whole purpose of life is to realize the bliss which is our own very nature. I really salute you for giving yourself the gift of this program and hope that it finds with you a great benefit and a lasting good in your life. I'd like to start first with the definition of meditation. Meditation is our ability to access our inner bliss. And it's done in many different ways. It doesn't matter so much which technique we use to access that inner reality. What's really useful is the experience itself. Meditation is our true nature. The disturbed and anxious mind are merely shimmering shadows or clouds that hide from us the vision of our true blissful nature. But behind all of the shadows, behind all of the clouds, behind all of the disturbances of the mind resides that deep inner reality of our being, which is eternal peace, joy, comfort, happiness, and fulfillment. The purpose of this entire class is to underline the tools that we already have and perhaps to learn some new tools on how to access that inner deep reality. First, I'll start with some of the benefits of a practice of meditation. The first is that it's a shower for the mind. The mind has a tendency to hold on to unpleasant, difficult, and painful experiences from our past. It's the nature of the mind. In fact, the mind usually focuses more on what went wrong in our past than what went right. We could have had a very beautiful, harmonious, and wonderful childhood. But out of that, we may naturally have had a few traumatic experiences. But all of the majority of the beautiful, wonderful experiences can easily be forgotten and clouded by the remembrance of a few difficult periods. And likewise, in our day-to-day living, it's natural in the course of our lives to run into stressful, painful, and unpleasant situations. But if we hold on to that and keep that with us, then we don't learn to be happy in the present moment. So learning to clean the mind, it's something almost, the mind is almost like any other part of nature. It has a tendency to get dirt in it. And the dirt is unpleasant, unhappy experiences. And how to clean that out and to release that from our being. Meditation is the key for that. Meditation is just like taking a shower. The same way we take a shower for the body, we take a shower for the mind. By accessing that inner peace, everything else is put into perspective, everything else is cleaned and purified. We let go of unpleasant experiences and we re-enter our lives in a clean, clear place. Also, the mind has a tendency to get into confusion, anxiety, and worry. It's almost like a forest fire. Like the mind gets wrapped up in all of its plans and ideas, trying to sort out what is the best option in our life for our highest good. And in the process of trying to come up with our action plan, it thinks and thinks and thinks, even at inappropriate times. It's always thinking and churning and worrying and dealing without coming up with much solution. It's almost like a forest fire. It's almost out of control. It's unending movement, like a forest fire. And the firefighters, when they want to put out a forest fire, they build a break. There's a large section where they clear all of the trees down. So when the fire comes raging and enthralled, it can't pass beyond that break. There may be a forest on the other side, but there will be a 100-yard break. And when the forest fire comes to that, it can't pass across that break. So that's what we have to do in meditation. In meditation, we cause a break. All of the mental fury, thoughts, ideas, schemes, ideas are all subsided. We allow the mind to be calm and still and peaceful. And in that tranquil state, all of the raging thoughts and ideas, plans and confusions are all let to rest. And what's left is our peace. Because in that tranquil, clear mental state, we easily access our deeper wisdom for solving problems. Benefit number 2. Meditation focuses the mind. The mind is like any other force in nature. It needs to be focused, it needs to be tuned, it needs to be aligned for the proper reception. And the mind, when it's very clear, calm, centered, and focused, it's optimally powerful. And later we'll be doing even a little test or demonstration with a magnifying glass to show the power of a focused mind. What is the tool that we use to solve life's problems? It's again the mind. When the mind is very clear, centered, one-pointed, it easily cuts through our problems, almost like a knife. Like when the knife is very sharp, it will easily cut through the vegetables and sharpening them in the kitchen. The mind is like that too, and the mind is very sharp, very clear, very centered. It easily cuts through all of our problems. All right, so we have a relaxed, focused mind. Point 3 of advantages and benefits of meditation is that when the mind is very focused, it is the perfect tool for solving problems. All we have to do is look within, in that calm, centered space. We open up to a deep, intuitive wisdom. The guidance is within us. So many times we look always outside of ourselves for guidance. We ask this person, that person, which may be wonderful. But the real truth and greatest depth and well of our wisdom is in silence and in listening within. The fourth benefit is that the body becomes radiantly healthy when the mind is peaceful, centered, and relaxed. The body itself is nothing but the outer manifestation of the thought patterns of the mind. And when the mind is radiantly happy, healthy, centered, the body follows suit. Almost all disease in the body is rooted in poor thought patterns in the mind. The fifth and one of the most fun benefits of meditation is that it gives us the experience of the here and now. So often in our lives we dream that my happiness is something in the future, or we reminisce that my happiness is something in the past. Happiness is here and now. Our joy is here and now. It's not necessary to think that later we'll be happy. If we're not even happy here and now, we may not even be happy later. Because as we think, so we become. And meditation gives us the ability to focus on the golden present moment so that we really optimally enjoy the here and now. The past is dead. The future is imaginary. The point of power is here and now. Number 6 is meditation gives us the ability to be peaceful in all situations. Life is very challenging. It's very difficult. Even the greatest, most smoothest, advantageous life is not all smooth. There's no one in the course of human events who could say their life has always been smooth and easy. It's not its nature. Its nature is challenge. Challenge and change is the nature of life. And to learn to realize the peace amidst all of the challenges and changes of life is the greatest good that we can do. That's our real power, our real strength, and our real birthright, is to be able to feel that peace in all situations. Even if the body is diseased, okay, the body's diseased, so what? There's nothing I can do. Even if it's hurt, let me optimize what I can do. And even if that's the best I can do for now, let me be happy amidst that. It's a great truth to realize. And I'll go one step even further, is that even the mind can be disturbed and you can still be peaceful. It sounds really funny, but it's true. Because ultimately we're watching the mind. We're the witness of the mind. So in all circumstances we can be peaceful, even when the mind is unhappy. You can say, oh, look at that, the mind's all unhappy today. It's another storm, huh? And enjoy that also. Just like we enjoy all of the different seasons and weathers. 8 is oneness with the universe. It's the greatest gift we can offer to ourselves and the greatest gift to the planet, is to realize that we are the one. There's nothing but the one, and we are that. And we are one with everything. We are one. We're one with the planet, with the chair, with the wind, with the whole forces of nature. The illusion of separateness is called egoism in the Western culture, and it's called Maya in the Eastern culture. It's the greatest of all illusions, the illusion of separateness, that I'm this individual on the ocean of life, when in fact I'm the ocean itself. We are the ocean itself. And to claim and realize, recognize our oneness is the greatest and highest achievement of meditation. So, having heard some wonderful benefits to encourage us on our path, let us begin with a simple practice, okay? They say an ounce of practice is worth a pound of theory. So let's just experience instead of just talk about. The first practical hint that we'll do is breathing. Now you may say, well, I always breathe, but how do we breathe is the important thing. The way that we breathe has a very powerful effect on the mind. The link between the mind and the body is the breath. And if you want to keep the mind calm, to center the mind, the easiest way to do it is just to do some gentle, deep breathing. It has a very dramatic, tranquilizing effect on the mind. So we'll start just with some simple three-part breathing, filling the abdomen, the chest, and the upper chest. Inhale, filling the abdomen, the chest, the upper chest. You almost feel the collarbones rising. Beautiful. Good. Then have the eyes closed for a moment. And just follow that deep, gentle breath. And now count to yourself the breath 1 to 10 3 times. I would suggest counting only the exhalation. Take a natural inhalation and count 1 on the exhalation. Inhale, count 2, and continue. Have the eyes closed. And now just feel how peaceful and quiet the mind is. Just keep the mind closed, the eyes closed. And just sit for a moment feeling the peace, the relaxation, the calmness of the mind. Good. It's wonderful. Well, this concludes our first meditation practice and our introduction to the class. This video is divided into 7 sections. Each section contains a lot of information to grasp and to digest. Please pace yourself by watching only as much in a day as feels comfortable and nurturing to you. Looking forward to seeing you in part 2. Aloha. Thank you. Welcome back to part 2. The science of tuning in to the deepest chord of our bliss, our own center, has been established for thousands of years in the science of yoga. I would like to first say about the universality of meditation. Meditation is not from any particular religious tradition. Every science of mind and every religious order states as its goal the attainment of that inner perfection and bliss which we are. And the science of yoga is not a religion in itself. It's common to all world religions. And in that ancient science which dates back over 5,000 years, a time-tested and proven method for attaining that deep realization of our own being has been established. The ancient sage Patanjali wrote over 5,000 years ago the ancient pithy aphorisms called sutras that define the spiritual path in its totality in 8 steps. And any course of meditation is enriched by including these 8 steps within it. The first 2 steps have to do with ethical perfection, because ethical perfection is totally necessary for us to attain anything in life. Our own integrity, our own honesty, our own purity, our own commitment to realizing the highest good in ourselves and in our service to the planet is the foundation of any undertaking and also the foundation of the spiritual path. And those beautiful ethical codes are common to all world religions. The Judeo-Christian religions call them the 10 Commandments. And in Patanjali's, it's called ethical perfection, which starts with number 1, nonviolence. Nonviolence is the greatest of all ethical codes. And nonviolence is on many levels. It's how we deal with our own mind in a nonviolent, peaceful way. It's our ability to deal with the planet, with other people. It's our compassion to plants and to animals and to the planet itself. And that's one reason why most yoga practitioners are vegetarians, because we don't want to cause violence to the animals. And it may be sometimes asked, well, okay, well, aren't you causing violence to plants by eating them? It may be true. In many cases, for instance, an apple, the apple tree offers you the fruit. Even if you don't come to pick the fruit, it drops it on the floor so it's easier for you to get to. So, and even in the situation where a plant may need to be cut in order to eat it, that's still a less violent forms of nutrition than killing an animal which has a much more developed and highly sensitive state of consciousness and awareness. So to cause the least amount of injury onto the planet is what is meant by nonviolence. The second point under ethical perfection is truthfulness. Truthfulness is being able to listen to our inner guidance and to come from integrity in all situations, thinking of the benefit of ourselves and everyone else in every situation. Truthfulness is one of the highest and greatest of all undertakings and all achievements. Third is non-stealing. That doesn't mean just not going to a store and stealing something from a store. The true meaning of non-stealing means using only what we need from life. Sometimes we take more than we need, or we don't share it with other people. And the way we steal the use of that material. Being able to really, in all situations, think what is the highest good for the planet with my resources, and acting responsibly is really a part of non-stealing. The fourth is moderation. And I'll say one thing, is moderation in all things is important. Moderation in our work, moderation in our activities, moderation in our lives. Every part of our lives have to be filled with moderation. Even moderation, the only thing that you don't have to be moderate in is moderation itself. But there's a balance in life. Like sometimes we go to extremes, too much exercise, too much eating, too much fun even. Everything in moderation is the greatest, the golden medium. That's the fourth. The fifth is non-greed. Non-greed is almost like non-stealing, but it goes one step further. Non-greed, in a way, is very tied in with the attitude of gratitude. Because sometimes we think, oh, my happiness isn't getting this, it's in getting that, I have to have this to be happy, I have to have that to be happy. If we learn how to be happy with what we have, our minds will automatically be calm. Instead of always thinking, oh, this is what I have to have, this is what I have to do, think about how many people aren't able even to do that. Think about how much more fortunate we are than other people. And that will automatically make our minds be calm and peaceful and centered. Then part 2, under the Patanjali's 8 points, is observances. Certain observances that really help to purify the mind and keep the mind pure. Why all of these ethical perfections? Because without them we will disturb our mind. They're all ways that help us to keep the balance of our minds. The first is purity. The second is contentment. Contentment, we said, contentment is the greatest of all undertakings. Contentment. The ability to stay peaceful and happy in all situations. If we learn nothing but that, we have everything. Contentment is golden. The third is accepting pain but not causing pain. It's the greatest purifier. Our lives give us pain, and sometimes we have to endure pain in our lives. But not to transfer that pain to other people is the greatest good that we can do. Sometimes, for instance, people will have very frustrating days. They'll have experienced a lot of pain in their day. Then they go home and take it out on their children. Learn to bear and endure pain without transferring it to other people. It's the greatest purifier for the being is that. The fourth under observances is spiritual study. And spiritual study means anything. Watching a videotape like this, reading a holy book or a scripture, doing some kind of self-improvement course. All of those kind of areas help as spiritual study. Anything that will uplift our lives to make us happier, more centered, more productive is spiritual study. And the fifth is attunement with your inner wisdom. Opening to your own inner guidance and being totally enthralled, motivated, captivated, and energized by your inner truth. That's the highest of the observances. So we have 1 and 2, ethical perfection. The third point in the Patanjali's Code of Ethics and 8 steps to experiencing the meditative state is postures. Postures are the yoga poses that we do that keep us radiantly healthy. And ultimately, under postures, anything that really nurtures the health of our body. And at this time, I'll take the moment to advise you to listen to a wonderful videotape and to watch the tape called Yoga Feels Good by Meenakshi P. Hanig. It's a beautiful, very popular presentation of what the different yoga poses are that give us a radiant health and a well-being in the body. It's very, very important to keep the body radiantly healthy in order to have the mind be really relaxed and centered. And there's nothing like the yoga poses for totally balancing the chemistry and the glands of the body to give us that deep, intuitive, peaceful state. The fourth of the practices in the 8 steps are breath control. How we use the breath will very much determine our state of mind. And as we did before, the gentle, slow, deep breathing has a wonderful balancing effect on the being. Also, there's a beautiful breath that we do through the alternate nostrils that harmonizes the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And that's also presented in Yoga Feels Good videotape. So after we have a healthy, comfortable body with a calm breath, then we're ready to come to the next step, which is the 5th step, which is sense withdrawal. Learning to bring the mind inward, to be contemplative, to allow the outside world to slip away and to become aware of the inner reality is what's called sense withdrawal. And there's so many different ways to accomplish that. You can wear earplugs, you can go into a cool, dark room, use a phone machine, do anything to help free you from the distractions of the senses. Sense withdrawal. Then we come to point 6, which is concentration. Concentration is the next step. Once the mind is drawn inward, learning to focus the mind like a laser beam on one point is the next and greatest benefit on the path to feeling the inner bliss. It's very hard to let the mind be totally still, but to get the mind in the beginning just to stick to one point is a wonderful and dynamic way to train the mind. It's really part and parcel of the theory of meditation is the theory of concentration. The ability to learn to center the mind, to focus the mind to one point is what's called concentration. When the concentration becomes fixed, then that's meditation. So the first steps that we do in calming the mind is just to bring it to a focus. We bring it to one point. And what we'll be doing in the rest of the class are different practices to bring the mind to the one point. It's something like you want to dissolve the ceaseless flow of thought in the mind to experience your own inner bliss. But in order for the mind to become that still, it first has to be concentrated so that it's only thinking about one thing. Then once that concentration becomes fixed and steady, you can let go of even that, and there's just the meditative experience of silence and peace. We come to now the 7th step, which is meditation. When concentration is fixed, meditation happens. It's almost like the analogy would be when you're all calm in your bed, everything is smooth and still, you naturally slip into this state of sleep. You slip into sleep. It's like that. When the mind is concentrated, one-pointed, you slip into the state of meditation. And the 8th step is the superconscious state. The superconscious state has to be experienced. When the mind stays in the meditative state for long enough, it slips into its intuitive wisdom state of deep peace and profound reality. And the advantage of that is once we've stayed in that state, even the challenges of the mind and body won't affect us. Once we realize that we are the bliss through having that experience, even when the mind and body are disturbed, we know that the disturbance is in the mind and body and not in us. So we're not affected even by that. So there are the 8 steps of the Raja Yoga, or the royal path. And now we'll do a little bit of a practice, which will be a meditation on the candle flame. What I'd like you to do is just to have your vision gently focused on the candle flame. Keep your attention on the candle flame. And notice the mind. If the mind wanders and thinks about anything else, just as soon as you notice it wandering, let go of the area where it's wandered to and gently bring the mind back to the candle flame. We'll just do a couple-minute meditation. Let the breath flow freely. And even if you have to bring the mind back again, it doesn't matter. Don't get frustrated. It's a gentle process of training the mind. Let it run, and then just gently bring it back to the point of concentration. If it runs again, no problem, just bring it back. How did that feel? Did you enjoy that process? Do you feel a calmness in the mind? All we have to do to get in touch with our own calmness is to focus the mind. When the mind becomes one-pointed, more centered, more focused, we automatically feel more of our own inner peace. So I hope that you enjoyed that little introductory experiment in meditation. And if you like, just try it on your own now during this break. We'll be taking a break between this end of part 2. And at this time, you could just do a little bit of homework. Just try a little bit of meditation on your own. Try just focusing with the candle. Do a little bit of practice like that. And resume this tape when you're ready, when you feel you've really digested well and you're sharp and relaxed and ready to begin the third section. Thank you. Wishing you glorious and radiant well-being. And I'm really proud of you for putting the energy out. You know, getting started in the meditation practice is the main energy. Once you've achieved it, it's so beautiful and floating and easy. Something like a rocket being boosted off. In the first mile that the rocket goes up, it uses almost 90% of its fuel. Once it's gone up and it's out of the Earth's gravitational field, just a little CO2 cartridge can move it and maneuver it. So in the beginning, meditation is like any other skill. It takes a little bit of going, a little foundation, and soon we'll be seeing some very major results. So I really encourage you and proud of you for continuing, and we'll see you through to the end. Thank you and aloha. Welcome back to part 3. Part 3, this is really my favorite part, which is the nature of conscious awareness. And it's one of the parts that I find the most healing and useful and applicable. Who are we? Who am I? Is the most powerful and necessary question to ask yourself. Who am I? To know your reality has the greatest effect on your life. We usually imagine ourselves to be the mind and the body. Most people, if you ask, who am I, would say, I'm the mind, or something to do with the mind. I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a meditation teacher, I'm male. All having to do with the nature of the mind or the nature of the body. But much beyond mind and body is the reality of our being, which is unending awareness of bliss. It's consciousness, conscious awareness of the experience of bliss is who we are and always have been. And to come to realize, to fathom, to experience, to live, to abide in that reality is the highest goal of life. And how to see that differentiation between consciousness and mind. It's a very important distinction. Mind is part of the cerebral cortex. It's a subtle movement of nature, mind. Consciousness is unchanging awareness. The easiest way to discover that distinction, which is critical to understand, is an analogy. And the one that I find as the best is that of a movie theater. We all go to the movies, and we're always watching this beautiful screen in front of us. And have you noticed when you're watching the movie that you usually forget that you're sitting safely in the 10th row, and instead you imagine yourself to be part of the movie. And you feel when the happy part comes, you feel exhilarated, you feel wonderful, you feel glorious. And when the sad part comes, you feel so sad. And you can actually feel in your stomach sometimes the sad feelings from the happenings on the movie screen. This life is nothing but that. We're watching the movie of the mind and the body. And we are the witness of that phenomena. Always watching, always the same, always peaceful. It's like when you're in the movie theater, you're not affected by the movie. You're safe in the audience. The movie is projected on the clear white screen. The same way, the mental activity, the mind, is projected onto the screen of our consciousness. And just as though when you go to a movie, even though you've gone to the same movie theater for 10 years, you very rarely or never would have seen the screen itself. Do you realize that? Because the screen is always covered by the constant flickering of light, shadows and lights and colors, which you call the film. And the film hides the screen, which is the eternal reality. The screen is always there. It's white, pure, unchanging, blissful. But we don't experience that screen because it's hidden by the movie or the drama of the mind. The mind is just like that film. It constantly is projected onto the screen of our consciousness. And we assume ourselves to be that movie rather than realizing we're the screen. We're the witness, we're the observer of the phenomena of our life. And the reason it's very important to understand that is because without that, we'll never be able to really control the mind. As long as we think that we're the mind, when it's disturbed, we're disturbed. If we realize when the mind is disturbed, we know, okay, the mind is disturbed. Well, listen, I told you you shouldn't have done that yesterday. You did it and now you're upset. Next time you listen to me. See, you can easily discipline, control the mind when you realize you're the director, you're the controller of the mind, not the mind itself. The other really important point to understand in this is that oftentimes we think that our reality is based on mind and body. We think I'm alive because I have a mind and body. Isn't that what we think? It's a totally insane notion. The mind and the body are alive because we as consciousness are within them. When we as eternal conscious awareness reside within the body and the mind, the mind and the body appear to have life. We are not alive because we have a mind and a body. Just the contrary. The mind and the body appear to be alive, moving and animated because we as the consciousness are within it, driving it. Truth. That's what you call wisdom. Wisdom is knowing this truth, that you are the eternal conscious awareness of bliss, driving, animating a body and a mind. That's wisdom. That's knowledge. Everything else is worldly knowledge. It's quite different. All other understandings are wonderful, fine, useful, but they're not the ultimate wisdom. The ultimate wisdom is that. To know how to fix a car is great. To know how to play a piano is great. To know how to serve an operation is wonderful, but to have the experience of your own inner reality is the greatest of them all. And with that, everything else comes. Everything else manifests to one who is established in his own bliss. It's like in the Bible they say, seek ye first the kingdom of God, everything else will be added unto you. Because once you have your bliss, you have your peace, you have everything. Even with nothing, you own everything. All of the world is your home ultimately. All of creation is yourself, your family. And without that awareness, even if you own everything, without your peace, you won't enjoy it. So the greatest good that you can do for yourself and others is to realize this delicate point that you are the awareness of bliss, animating a body and a mind. It's almost like a car. A car, what is a car? It's just a box of steel, or maybe plastic. These days it's more plastic than steel. That car is nothing but an inanimate box until a person goes in there, turns the key, and then starts it moving. Once the person starts the car moving, it appears to be very clever. It accelerates, it decelerates, it turns, it stops at appropriate times, it goes on the green light, stops on the red light. Why is the car able to do all of that? Because a consciousness, as a person, goes into it and drives it. The same way this body and mind, we as the eternal conscious awareness come in and use this. And an important realization for that is that it gets us over the fear of death. The fear of death is the underlying all other fears and all other anxieties are based on this one fear, the fear that we will die. We will never die. We were never born. We are, and we will never die. Before the entire universe was created, we were. We are now, and we always will be. That's wisdom. And the part of us that's eternal is that consciousness. If you think in your life, from when you were a child, you remember always knowing. You knew when you were happy. You knew when you were unhappy. You knew what you wanted. You knew what you didn't want. All of that knowing is constant. Now that you're an adult, you know that. You know that you're an adult. You know the stage that you're in. You know what you want, what you don't want. All of that is unchanging. The awareness of our lives has never changed. It's the only part that's constant. I'll bring one other key factor in for understanding this point. When we're dreaming at night, we're dreaming. Who is awake watching the dream? If someone weren't awake while you were dreaming, watching the dream, you wouldn't know what you dreamt when you woke up. Isn't it true? If everything was asleep, then nobody was awake to know what was happening. Somebody was awake. That's you. The same conscious awareness that's watching the mind during this time is watching it also while it's dreaming. So that's how you could know what you dreamt. That conscious awareness is always the same. And if you really tune in through meditation, you can feel and experience that part of your being that never changed. It's the highest and the best of paths. Think on that. Meditate on that. And to understand that, we'll do a little bit of a practice, which will be observing the mind and feeling the space between the thoughts. The meditation practice we'll do now, just for a couple minutes, is the practice of witnessing the mind. It also helps to calm the mind, this practice, because the mind is almost like a bowl of water. If you don't keep shaking it around, all the little waves that are there automatically will eventually calm themselves out, and the bowl will be still. So by just watching the mind, it's a very good way to calm the mind. Just witness it. Don't try to move it one way or the other. Whatever it's doing, let it do. Don't encourage it one way or the other way. So we'll just witness the mind. And then in witnessing the mind, you'll see there'll be a space between thoughts when there won't be any thought. What is there in that space? That's the most critical window into the meditative experience, is the space between your thoughts. When there's no thought, what there is the conscious awareness. Be aware of that. So we'll do first a few moments of deep breathing, just as a good invocation to a meditation experience. Have the eyes closed. Sit comfortably with the chest well expanded. And just start with a few deep, slow inhalations and exhalations. Feel yourself really relaxing with each exhalation. As you inhale, feel peace and energy. As you exhale, feel any concern or doubt or worry being exhaled. Few slow, deep inhalations. And now just begin to observe the the mind. Just watch it like a movie. Feel the space between the thoughts. Feel how calm and peaceful the mind is. And just be aware of the peace. Good. How does that feel? Does that feel wonderful? Even a few moments of meditation practice yields so much benefit. Try to make little gaps in your day, little moments where you can just take a moment and just recenter. Instead of, we'll need less sleep if we learn how to be peaceful throughout the day. Keep calm and centered. Always retune yourself to that central core of your being. I thank you very much. This concludes our part 3, which is the nature of the conscious awareness. If we're able to remember who we are, that we are the blissful consciousness under all circumstances, our job is done. It's the simple, direct approach to tapping into our inner reality, is to know that we are the bliss and not to be affected by the different circumstances of the mind and the body, to watch them like a movie. It's a great refuge. It's an oasis in the desert of life. In the midst of all storms, we need to have some type of refuge. And one great refuge is to take shelter in the part of our being that's peaceful and calm amidst even the trauma of the mind and the body. Learn to access that space and to live and to be in that space amidst the drama of life. It's like a lotus flower. A lotus flower grows in a muddy space. The lotus will never grow in a clear water. It has to be a very stagnant water. And it rises out of the mud, and it comes above the water, and it's radiant and clean, glorious. A lotus flower. It comes out of the mud and the water. It's not muddy, it's not wet. It's clean and dry and pristine. We have to be like that amidst life. It's like when Jesus said, "Be in the world, but not of the world." You have to be here. We're in this mud and mire, but amidst the mud and mire, be calm, peaceful, centered, and dry. It's the greatest good you can do. You become like a refuge for yourself and for others to be peaceful, calm, useful amidst the drama of life. Om Shanti, Aloha. Welcome back, part 4, round 4. All right. It's almost like a marathon, the meditation practice. You have to be the most brilliant of all scholars, the most brilliant of all athletes. It's the greatest and most powerful of all competitions, of all challenges, the challenge to attain and to recognize and realize your own bliss. And it's the one that has lasting implications. Everything else in life is dwarfed by this goal. So I hold you in great charge and great vigor to attain what is to be attained. And now we come to part 4, which is mantra theory and practice. In the control of the mind, many, many sciences have come forth, but virtually every school of meditation teaches mantra. Mantra is a very beautiful sound form that calms the mind. It's a very powerful technique for attaining that realization of our inner being. We need to focus on something, and whatever we focus on will have profound impact on our lives, because as we think, so we become. And mantras have beautiful abilities to calm the mind. The basis of all mantras is the humming sound. And if you even listen now in silence, you can hear the ocean, the wind, everything creates this beautiful humming sound. A mama hums to her baby to calm it. In every culture, in all times, every mama has hummed to every baby, and every baby is comforted and soothed by that gentle humming sound. The mind responds to that sound because it's one with our own consciousness. And the humming sound can be defined in many ways. In the Christian tradition, it's defined as Amen. 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 It's also imitated in a way by the organ. That great deep humming sound of the organ is also a beautiful representation of the humming sound. In the Eastern tradition, the humming sound is defined as Om. Om is considered to be the vibration which even describes the entire universal creation. The ah sound is the beginning of all alphabets. Alpha. Om, ah, oo. The oo sound sustains creation. The M sound dissolves everything back into itself. The entire universe is created, sustained, then redissolved back into its own primordial energy of consciousness. And amidst all of the creation of the universe, the sustaining and the recycling back into its own unmanifested bliss, we are. And we recognize that eternal vibration of Om, that humming sound, which totally mellows and captivates the mind. So our next meditation will be a short Om meditation. And in doing this, we can just chant together or do it silently or just visualizing, doing it mentally, repeating the Om. And if the mind wanders one way or the other way, we can just bring it back to the point of concentration. Let's try it together. Om. And now just mentally, and now just feel the peace for a moment of even this moment practice. Good. Do you feel a little benefit of that? Yeah. It's one wonderful thing about meditation is that even a little practice gives a lot of benefit. It doesn't have to be a half an hour practice. Even a 2-minute practice you can feel a nice benefit from. Okay. This, what mantra you use doesn't matter much. It can be anything as long as it has 3 qualities. Number 1, your mind should love it. It should be something very nurturing and beautiful to your mind, almost like a beloved, like your own dearest beloved. You repeat that and you just feel exhilarated and elevated by that sound. Number 1. Number 2 is that it should be something that the mind likes. The mind should like it. It should be enjoyable to the mind. And number 3, it should be something that you can do anywhere. Like if you meditate on a candle, for instance, it's a wonderful type of meditation, but you can't take it with you. Mantra is very portable. There's a wonderful portability about a mantra. A mantra you can do silently anywhere. If you're stuck in traffic, your mind can become very anxious or disturbed unless you have some way to keep it occupied. And mantra is very, very flexible that way. You can do it anywhere, anytime, any place. Because Om, or Amen, or Shalom even, are all very simple, short mantras. A longer mantra is often used in conjunction. And today we'll use the one Shanti. Shanti is the vibration of peace, Shanti. It's a wonderful addition to Om because it makes 3 syllables instead of 1 syllable. So it's that much easier for the mind to hold on to because It's considered to even be 9 times easier to hold on to 3 syllables than to hold on to 1 syllable. 1 syllable is like so narrow and small of a point that sometimes the mind has a hard time dealing with it. So you could do whichever one feels nurturing to you. We'll now do a short Om Shanti meditation. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Just mentally for a moment. Good. Hope you had a nice feel for that. I'll tell you a few tricks that you can do to make mantra meditation easier. Okay. One is that you can do mantra aloud. If you find it's too difficult for the mind to do it totally mentally, just repeat it aloud. Especially if you're alone, there's no harm in that. Or if you're with a group of people, if you're meditating in a group and it would be disturbing to others, you can repeat it just with lip movements. Or as the nuns do, you can use a rosary. So you flip a bead with every repetition of the mantra. And that gets the body involved. So by the body being involved, it's easier to keep the mind in check. And if something happens and the thumb stops moving, you know something happened. So it's an easy way to keep the mind in check using a rosary. Also, if you find that you're a little too tired, you can just write the mantra. Have a nice book that you just use for that, and just do 1 page at a time, print it beautifully or write it either way. And that is a very good way to get it really into a deeper level of the mind. That's called Likat Japa. Whether you do it or not with the meditation or not, it's very good to do a little bit of writing meditation. It's a very good way to get the mantra to be part of your subconscious and conscious minds. I would say after repeating the mantra for a while, just feel the peace. That's the ultimate goal. Mantra is just a tool to get the mind to be centered. Once it's centered, you want to meditate on your peace. You want to feel your peace. But once the mind starts wandering around to a lot of random thoughts, you hold it into check by bringing it to the mantra. But once the mind is very fixed and it's not wandering around too much, it's just fixed on the mantra, you can let go of the mantra and you just experience your own peace. So I hope that you try this. Maybe between this part and the next part, you can do a little bit of a practice on your own, do a little bit of mantra repetition. Pick whatever mantra suits you. It can be even the name of a saint, Om Jesus, Om, or Amen Jesus, Mother Mary. It could be a word, love, truth, peace, joy, harmony. Whatever really resounds with your inner being, choose that. Choose anything that works for you. It doesn't matter what. Repeat it. When you see the mind wandering, gently bring it back to the point of concentration. I'll tell you one important thing. Never become disturbed when you see the mind wandering. It's the nature of the mind. It's almost like a child. Like every time, if you would hit a child every time it fell down while it was trying to learn to walk, it would never learn to walk. So every time the mind moves and it gets distracted by something, just let go of that and bring it gently back to the point of concentration without any type of anxiety. I wish you glorious success in your mantra meditation. It's a beautiful, wonderful, nurturing meditation practice recommended by virtually all meditation teachers in all times. Thank you and aloha. Welcome back to part 5, which is Nada Yoga. Nada is an inner tone that can be heard. It's actually part and parcel of our consciousness. The Om sound, which we chant outside, can be heard within. And it's heard in a tone that sounds something like this. These are ancient Tibetan temple bells that imitated or recreated the sound that's naturally heard within in meditation, which is called the nada. The nada is nothing but the same inner sound. When we chant Om or Amen or Shalom or Hari Om or Om Shanti, all of those mantras, the mind will become very still and calm. And when the mind is very still or calm, that sound can be heard within, called the nada. And if we can hear that sound, it's the easiest form of all meditations, because we don't have to do anything. We just sit and listen. We don't have to generate a mantra. The mantras themselves eventually can go automatic, so that you don't really even have to think the mantra. The mind automatically repeats to you the mantra. It can even flow with the breath. So if you're doing, for instance, Om, you can inhale Om and exhale Om. You can imagine your own breath to chant to you the mantra. You can go Om, Om, Om. Any way that you like, you can combine the breath with the mantra. And eventually, mantras do become automatic. But easier than even mantra is the nada, because the nada is the sound that's always there, and it's part and parcel of our own consciousness. The eternal awareness that we are produces that primordial hum, which is the substratum of the entire universe. In the Bible it says, in the beginning was the Word. The Word was God. The Word was with God. That primordial, eternal reality is what we are. that same nada. Before the Big Bang, the original primordial vibration that put on the entire universal show and that manifests as every atom in this universe is nothing but that one eternal conscious awareness of bliss, which is expressed as that pure tone, that immortal sound. And to hear that sound and to dissolve back into that is what meditation is. When we talk about merging into bliss, we mean merging into that consciousness through that sound. It's a very easy way to enter into the blissful state. And in a way, to hear that sound, total silence is needed in the beginning. And because of that, spiritual practitioners and meditators used to go into caves because it was totally quiet in a cave, and there you could hear that inner sound. You're free from all distractions for your meditation. In our culture, that might be a little bit difficult, especially if you live in New York City. So how to be able to attain that silent state? Well, technology brought us the noise, and technology brings us the solution, which is, ta-da, earplugs. It's a very simple, easy way to get the mind still through having a very quiet environment. And these are done, you can get them in any drugstore. You just roll them a little bit and put them in your ears. Hold them for a moment. They expand inside the ear canal. You'll probably hear that I'm starting to talk louder and louder as they're working. And they totally seal off the sound. When there's no outside sound, it's easy to hear the inner sound or the nada. And nada is usually heard only when the mind is very calm and when it's very silent in the beginning. So it's very good to combine it with mantra meditation. And for mantra meditation, you can begin by repeating a mantra, and you can combine it with the flow of your breath if you find that nurturing. And then as the mind and the body become stiller and more quiet and more centered, you can hear that sound. That sound is also depicted by this sound in the modern science depicted it this way. Listen for it. You'll see that you'll be able to catch it. It just takes a little bit of time to get used to it. Once you hear it, you can meditate upon that sound. Until the mind gets a little bit too restless, if it starts to think too much, go back to repeating your mantra until it's quiet enough to hear the nada. Eventually you'll be able just to meditate on the nada sound. We'll do a little practice now for nada yoga, which is called yoni mudra. It's a little bit of a funny practice, but it's very effective in closing off the senses. So in order to achieve that, first you have to watch me, because if you start doing it as I'm doing it, you won't hear or see what I'm talking about. We'll be doing a humming sound throughout that sounds like this. And in that humming sound, keep the teeth together, the upper and lower palate, so that the vibration from the voice box and from the lungs are generated and transferred into the skull and the head. Then we'll be closing off all the senses by first putting the thumbs in the ears, the index fingers on top of the eyelids, the middle fingers on the bridge of the nose, the ring finger above the lips, and the baby finger beneath the lower lips. And then, after getting the hands in this position, just begin to hum. You can use any tone that sounds nurturing to you, any pitch. Then just return the hands to the lap for a moment and just see how calm the mind is and listen for hearing the nada sound. Om Shanti. Thank you so much. Can you feel a nice blissful feeling from that? It's a very good way to direct. And even if you don't hear it, one thing is never become disturbed or expect something. In a way, our expectation keeps us from relaxing in meditation. Meditation is not doing something ultimately. It's totally doing nothing ultimately. The real meditation is let the body be totally relaxed. Let the mind be totally still. Don't try to achieve anything. Totally let go. Relax completely. And in that deep relaxation, you feel your bliss. But you're conscious of it. It's different than sleep. In sleep, you may experience the same profound relaxation in deep sleep, but you're not consciously aware of it. Be consciously aware of your own bliss. Let go of all strivings. Don't try to think. Don't try not to think. Try to be just concentrated on one simple, beautiful, luxurious, nurturing vibration. And then let that lead you into your own bliss. Thank you and aloha. Welcome back to part 6. This part is basically tips on how to really have a successful practice. We know now what the practice is, but we need to really optimize our ability to carry out the practice and to implement it in our lives. So I'll start with first is to know that keeping the mind peaceful is not just something that happens 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes at night. It's wonderful to start your meditation practice. In starting the practice, you could even do just 15 minutes at those times. It's wonderful. It's a good way to begin. Start the meditation, do a little bit in the morning, a little bit before you go to bed. 2 regular times is wonderful. Being regular, being systematic is wonderful. It's a very good beginning to the meditation. But it's beyond that. It has to be all day long that we keep the mind centered and balanced. And at this point, I would recommend to you to see the stress management videotape that's also produced by Wellbeing International, that I also share in the fundamentals of a balanced lifestyle. By having those fundamentals, we'll automatically be keeping the mind peaceful and calm throughout the day. And that way, those 2 15-minute settings will really have some deep implementation in our lives. We'll be able to really gain from those settings. And then as you're inspired, you'll be able to do more and more. In the beginning, maybe 15 minutes is all you'll feel like doing. But after a while, you become that you'll just be so nurtured by your meditation experience, you'll want to do more and more. So I really encourage you to begin your practice, to do it at a regular time, at a regular place. Maybe even keep a little chart where you write down, okay, this is my morning meditation, this is my evening meditation, and give yourself some kind of prize or benefit, some kind of gift for going for a whole week with a successful regular meditation practice. I could give you a few little more hints. One is the posture. To sit comfortably is very important with the shoulders back. It's a very, very important way to meditate. As long as the chest is expanded and you're really sitting comfortably, it's fine. It's better to have the legs crossed like this than to leave them dangling, because it's more energy efficient to really keep the legs up. More energy is channeled upward in the system. Having a little altar is also beautiful, because it's an icon. It really automatically charms the mind and brings it into a peaceful state. If you can make a little altar and put on it everything that you consider to be holy, beautiful, and uplifting, so when you look at it, automatically it brings the mind into a more balanced state. It's a very useful technique in meditation, is to use an altar. The next I would say is quiet all of the space around you. When you're meditating, put on the phone machine, do whatever it takes to keep quiet. Or if you can't achieve quiet, use earplugs during your meditation so that you're not distracted by outside sounds. That way, if you get up early in the morning before there's too much commotion in the house, or meditating later in the evening when it's quieter, all of that helps a lot in keeping the mind focused. A main tip is to totally let go in meditation. When you see the mind wandering, don't follow it in its wanderings. Like often you'll see that during meditation you'll have almost the same distraction over and over again. You'll be worried about your job, for instance, and often that same type of redundant thought will come into the mind. Whenever you see that, let go of it. And I'll tell you a real trick for doing that. You'll see that if you meditate, at the end of your meditation period, you'll be very calm and centered. In that state, you'll be open to your intuitive wisdom and you'll be able to solve problems. So when you see recurring anxiety, thought patterns entering the mind, you say to those very thoughts, listen, I'll take you at the end. You leave me alone now. At the end, I'll take you and we'll solve your problem. And they'll usually listen to that. You can let it go, keep it on the back burner, just let it wait for you. At the end, pose the question and just listen. And you open up to your intuitive wisdom to solve your problems. It's the best and the highest way to solve problems. Many, many discoveries could never have been made just with the mind. The mind is a very limited computer. If you want to tap into the universal computer, which is our deepest wisdom, access that in total peace and silence. When you're in the meditative state, just pose the question and listen, and you'll optimally solve your problems. And all of those distracting thoughts can wait, especially if they know that they're going to be answered. They will wait quietly, and they'll give you the peace to meditate in, and then you'll solve them in the end with efficiency and power. The last thing I'll say in the preparation and the tricks for a successful practice is to enjoy the practice. Make it nurturing to yourself. Don't wrestle with the mind. Learn to nurture the mind so that it loves to meditate. It's the greatest gift. It's the greatest bliss that you can give to the mind. It's its own true bliss. And that's all that the mind wants. The mind wants to solve your problems. It wants to serve you with excellence. Give it the tools to do that by teaching it meditation. Learn to focus the mind, because that same pristine concentration that we learn in meditation, we take to our work. Then we're able to work with efficiency. We're able to play with efficiency. We're able to live with peace, joy, and happiness, which is our own birthright. I wish you the radiant support in your practice. I wish you success. I wish you the experience of your own inner bliss and the ability to truly be a blessing on this planet, to serve with excellence, and to enjoy the entire process and to realize your own self as the essence of bliss. Om Shanti, Aloha. Okay. This is the icing on the cake, is a little deep relaxation. Deep relaxation is another type of meditation where we totally relax the body, relax the mind, and then we do certain types of affirmations that further help to center the mind, and then we access into our deep inner peace. It's a wonderful way just to have a little glimpse of what a meditation experience is. So here we go, we'll try a little bit out and we'll see how you like it. First, try to just get a nice mat, comfortable, have quiet, and I'll guide you through the deep relaxation. Lie down and be comfortable on your back. Good. We'll begin by just taking a deep inhalation, stretching out the right leg, raising it up a couple inches, squeeze together all the muscles of the leg tightly, and drop. Good. Inhale, stretch out the left leg, raise it up a few inches, squeeze tightly, and drop. Wonderful. Inhale, stretch out both arms, raise them up tightly, squeeze, and drop. Gently roll the head a little from side to side, relaxing the neck muscles. Shrug the shoulders together under the chin. Drop. Gently shrug the shoulders around. Again, a little roll of the neck. And now we'll be stretching and relaxing the facial muscles. Wet the lips a little. Open the mouth, stretch out the tongue, stretch up the eyebrows, stretch. And release. Now squeeze together all the facial muscles to the tip of the nose, squinch, and release. Good. And now just scan the body, seeing that it's totally relaxed and comfortable. Let go completely. Just dissolve your awareness of the body. And in order to do that, we'll go over it mentally now and make sure that each part is optimally relaxed. Feel the feet relaxing. The calves, the knees, the thighs, the buttocks, the anal sphincter muscles. Feel the entire spine just letting go. Feel all of the nerves emanating from the spine relaxing. Feel the shoulders relaxing. And let a wave of relaxation flow down the arms and out through the hands. And now bring the awareness to the pelvis, feeling the pelvis relaxing. Feel the abdomen relaxing. Feel the chest, the heart, the lungs, the diaphragm. Just let go. Feel the throat relaxing. Well, give a gentle little roll from the head and tuck the chin in just slightly so the back of the neck is really relaxed. Feel the throat and the shoulders letting go. Feel the facial muscles letting go. Let the cheeks just float. Let the eyes float. The forehead, the scalp, even the hair. Wonderful. Now bring the awareness to the brain. Just feel the brain floating, almost in ocean water. The cerebral fluid is almost the same as warm ocean water. Just surrender. Feel like your whole being is just floating. Let go completely. Feel every part of the body being supported by the floor. And let the body go. Just let it float. Bring the awareness to the breath. Just witness its gentle movement. Don't even have to try to control it. Just witness its flow. And now bring the awareness to the mind. And just witness the mind for a moment. Don't judge or criticize it, just allow it to be. Feel the peace between the thoughts. When the mind and body are very relaxed, it's a fertile soil in which to plant affirmations. Affirmations are like seeds planted in the fertile soil of the calm body, the relaxed mind, that yield their fruit in the circumstances of our lives. My body is radiantly healthy. Every cell of my body vibrates with vital energy. My body is whole, complete, beautiful, radiant. I love my body. My body is a beautiful temple in which I will live. Every cell in my body works for the well-being of the whole. My body is calm, relaxed, dynamic and powerful. My body is beautiful, handsome, and attractive. My body is youthing. It becomes younger and stronger every day. My mind is clear, calm, and centered. My mind easily guides me with the highest options to maintain my own well-being and to optimally serve the planet. My mind knows how to stay still, centered, one-pointed, and peaceful. Beyond body, beyond mind, is self, which is the unending awareness of bliss, the conscious awareness of joy, fulfillment, harmony, is my immortal nature. I am one with all, and all is one with me. The entire universe is within me, and I am within the entire universe. I am one with all. All is one with me. Into that deepest bliss of my being, I easefully merge. Know this peaceful feeling and learn to access this throughout your day. Keep in contact with it. And now we'll gently be able to awaken the body in a nurturing way. Begin by just allowing the breath to deepen gently. And feel that you're sending your breath energy throughout the body, gently awakening it. Begin by moving the toes and the fingers. And gently increase the movement to the arms and the legs. Giving a gentle roll from side to side, and finally a gentle roll to the neck. Bring the arms overhead, give a gentle stretch. Take hold of one knee, gently come to a seated position for a moment of relaxation and meditation. Just breathe deeply and feel how calm and centered the mind are. Easily incorporate this beautiful, peaceful feeling into all the activities of your day. Om Shanti. May you always feel this blissful feeling. May you be in contact with your inner reality, and may you share that inner peace with one and all. Well-being and aloha. Om Shanti.